Back there behind me is old downtown Brea. Now you and I both know it's been there a long time. In fact, some of the buildings down there were built even before Brea became an incorporated city in 1917. Today we're going to be taking a tour of some of those buildings, including Sam's Place and that two-story brick building just north of Sam's, the old Sewell building, which was Brea's first city hall. We're also going to be taking some side trips to learn about the two industries that helped to make Brea the city it is today. That's citrus and of course oil. Now during the next approximately 1.5 hours, I guarantee you that you're going to be hearing about and seeing some things about old Brea that are going to surprise you. And hopefully when you're all done, you'll be just as enthusiastic about Brea's early history as I am. Now right now I'm standing on top of the old Brea Hotel, which has been here ever since the town was first laid out. And it's very fitting that I begin here because the first segment that you're going to be seeing is about this particular building. So why don't I climb down the ladder now, get off the building, go out in front, and let's get started. Back in the very early days of Brea in 1912, there was a real shortage of housing here for all the oil workers that came from all over the United States to work in our local oil fields. Now up in Brea Canyon, there were some small little houses built on top of the hills and on the sides of the hills for the oil workers, but there really weren't enough. So in 1912, construction on the Brea Hotel began. Now if we could go back to 1913, when construction ended, this hotel would have looked a lot different than it does right now. You can see this coating of stucco that's on the building. Well, that wasn't even put on until 1939. So underneath that coating of stucco, there is an old wood building there. It was built in the Craftsman commercial style, which is very popular at that time. Now we have another building in Brea that was also built in the Craftsman commercial style, and that's Sam's Place. Now up there at the top, you can see that there is a plaque. And that plaque up there really has no significance that I know of other than being kind of a decorative plaque. There's a similar plaque at the other end of the building. There's also some fancy scroll work that was up at the top, and that's been covered up by stucco, but we have old photographs and it was very attractive. Now in the old photographs, this almost looked like two different hotels. And the two different portions of it were joined by a small little hall that was right in the center of the building. Now later on in the hotel's history, that hall was brought out forward to make room for another apartment. And it also made the front of the hotel look much larger than it is today. For those of you who have never been up in the Brea Hotel, what it looks like upstairs is there are two long halls that stretch from the front of the building to the back. And on both sides of those halls there are small little rooms. Now you can tell this is an old hotel because there are no bathrooms in the room. The bathrooms are at the end of the hall. There are also showers at the end of the hall. There used to be bathtubs, but they're not there any longer. Now most people know this building is only the Brea Hotel, but it's had different names over the years. Shortly after it was built, it was called the Kinsler Hotel. Now Mr. Kinsler was an important man in Brea's early history, and he headed the drive for incorporation in 1916, and when Brea became a city in 1917, he served as Brea's first city clerk. The hotel over the years has also been called the Ozark Hotel, and it's been called the New Sheraton Hotel. As you can see, there are 5 different businesses down here in front. Well, I'm not going to count one of the businesses because the one in the center originally was the lobby of the old hotel. Well, businesses have come and gone over the years. There have been several cafes in here. There's been an electrical shop. There's been a plumbing shop. Down here also, one of the businesses was originally a moving picture theater, and that was when the building was called the Kinsler Hotel. Now what a moving picture theater was not like our regular movie theater. It was where probably somebody hung a piece of canvas on the wall or the movies were shown up on the wall. This was during the teens. One of the businesses here, the second business here from the right, was also the Brea Post Office at one time. Kind of an interesting little sidelight about one of the businesses here is this was the Brea bus depot during the 1940s. Now you can see that this hotel has had a long and kind of an interesting history. Now it's certainly seen better days, but it's still a great reminder of the days of old Brea. Well, next time what we're going to be doing is we're going to be walking only a few yards south here to the intersection of Brea Boulevard and Ash Street to talk about some of the buildings around that intersection, because that was the first intersection in town. It's a very historic one. The next several segments you're going to be seeing originally appeared on local cable television.